First time I went to Iraq and fought, I felt like a barbarian off to war. No one that could kill me, that was bulletproof.
You're invincible.
I looked around and thought something terrible is wrong right now, and I think we're about to be attacked. Just as we moved out, the mine went off the right front end of my Humvee. The smoke and the blast and everything was quiet.
I came back quite different, and there was really a lack of feeling for anything.
Now you're in a hospital. Now you're going through rehab, but you can become unstoppable again.
Operation Rebound! Operation Rebound!
You can become unstoppable again with a piece of equipment and a little bit of help. And Operation Rebound provides all that.
When I look in the mirror, I stop because I think to myself, what's wrong? And I look and I go, oh, I'm missing a leg. Because I try not to think about it all the time. I try to be able so much that I mentally forget that I'm missing my leg. Your brain compensates and doesn't let you find excuses. These young men have this incredible ability to look beyond their injury. They're soldiers, they're Marines, they're warriors. There's guys out there that will have one arm left that would go and fight if they could. I mean, these guys are amazing. They'll never quit.
In the early 2000s, we started getting a lot of calls from people who were injured in Iraq and Afghanistan. And you gotta remember, a lot of these are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old men and women whose whole life is based around their physicality. They're the best of the best. And now they're missing a leg, they're missing an arm, they're paralyzed. So we started sending our athletes, going to Walter Reed Army Hospital to show our troops that there was still hope. They could get involved with sport.
They're the best. And they've been taking care of adults, they've been taking care of children. They have the right mission. They're totally focused on getting people back to thriving. Whether it's a child that's in school and is on crutches, they give them a sports wheelchair to play basketball, or whether it's a police officer shot in the line of duty to get a new leg to learn to run on, because insurance companies won't necessarily pay for it. What a great program. So I said, hey, well, let's create something specific to our wounded warriors. Let's get them the equipment they need. Let's give them the sports grants they need to go compete in these things, to give them the confidence and courage to go back and become, great community members again.
Operation Rebound provides all sorts of support for injured military people so that they can pursue their physical fitness dreams. Riding bikes with their children, all the way up to competing in the Paralympic Games. We've done swim clinics, stand-up basketball clinics, mobility run clinics, and then we work with the Balboa Naval Hospital to do a weekly surf clinic, and then they can pursue whatever avenue interests them. We believe it improves health, increases self-esteem, and it serves as a springboard to success in other areas of life.
I knew full well that it wouldn't be long before I ended up in Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever. I wanted to prove myself and I wanted to make a difference. That morning, we'd already found a couple IEDs, we had disarmed them, and we thought we got them all. All of us were pretty well experienced. We had a bomb-sniffing dog, metal detector. I walked over it instantaneously, my foot stepped down. I felt the ground give out a little bit. I was just like, oh no. I blacked out for the split second, came to in the air, coming down, dust all around me, and I landed on what I, at the time, thought were my legs.
I thought he had been killed. That was my first reaction. All he said was, if you're driving, could you get yourself in a place safe, pulled over. I was angry, I screamed out, I yelled, I cried.
I think I wandered around for a few days and a days.
I'm missing legs, I'm missing fingers, but I was alive, I was there. And I do remember my parents coming in.
I got to see him, I got to touch him.
One way or the other, I was gonna be all right, New life, obviously, but I was gonna be all right.
I made one.
That's why I'm saying go back.
I got 1 foot.
So one of the things I discovered when I went back to Iraq again was I was the first to return to the battlefield as an amputee since the Civil War. I was on a mission and my foot broke because I was in some pretty rough terrain on a reconnaissance right before the Battle of Talafar. So I stopped, and I mean, imagine the legend in Iraq right now with the guy who stopped, unscrewed his foot, put a new foot on out of his backpack, screwed it on, got up, tested it, and then started walking down the road again. I mean, the townspeople were just like, what is the, did you see the robot human? And I didn't realize what a big deal it was. I was really just trying to motivate the guys laying in their beds at Walter Reed to say, hey, you can do this. I led the way for a major movement so that over 200 now have returned onto active duty and over 70 have gone back to Iraq or Afghanistan as amputees, either arm, leg, and it's just, I'm really proud of that.
Operation Rebound!
One of the things I notice is the positive attitudes of these troops. Our troops are motivating the general population to do some pretty great things. You know, oftentimes we hear people who see our athletes out there at an event say, they inspired me to get up off the couch. And when they do that and they start doing triathlons or going out on bike rides, they want to start giving back to our organization because they see the value in it.
You guys have helped us raise over $200,000 for Challenge Athletes Foundation.
And that's really how the service of our troops translates over to the general public. They lift one another up. And so I think that's what keeps the smiles on their faces. I know it keeps a smile on my face.
Good morning, Sausalito!
Welcome to Marin County. I want you to know how mellow it is here. Have a wonderful ride today. I'll be back in the back there with Mr. B and myself, keeping the slow people together. You know what I'm saying?
Operation Rebound, where the game of life begins anew. Nothing like starting the fast break.
They got me out to San Diego, to the Naval Hospital in San Diego. I saw guys on prosthetics, biking, running, simply walking. There's guys that were injured before me, and they're doing all these things. And it gives you a little bit of hope. Then you put your legs on for the first time. You get standing up, and you're like, man, I feel awesome. You go to physical therapy, and you work with prosthetics. You fall a bunch. Next thing you know, you're walking up and down stairs, you're walking on trails, you start running. Then you realize that running is not easy with no legs. Well, let's get biking. Then you realize that that's just crazy. I'm gonna fall plenty of times. I'm gonna ding up a bike probably, but I want to do it and I'm ready to do it, so I'm gonna make it happen, despite the difficulties of not having any knees.
Daniel is the pioneer of being the first double above the knee amputee that has sustained a blast wound or some type of a traumatic injury and being able to ride an upright bike and compete in a major triathlon like the Ironman.
We go through a series of adjustments of the prosthesis, alignment, whatever sport they choose, running or cycling, we will develop a prosthesis that will accommodate all the challenges of the sport.
I served a tour over in Kosovo and served a tour over in Iraq. When the mortar came in, I was actually able to hobble up. At the time, I don't know how, we found out that there was more damage to the ankle than I thought. And I underwent 5 surgeries over the next 3 years, and every day it was just pain. And then we're watching some of the amputees. They were getting up much faster. They were running. You just saw them living life and having a good time, and I knew I was miserable.
All right, it's too late.
And daily life shouldn't be that hard in my eyes, and if that meant amputating the leg like some of my fellow soldiers, I did it. And of course, I'm not looking back because it was the best decision I made.
This recovery process and the way that we're doing, at least through Operation Rebound, is connected. You know, first of all, you guys stay with your brothers in arms, and you heal together. And we go to these events. Like Dan Riley and I were at a mud run, and he went the whole way on little short stubby legs you're supposed to just walk on. And he walked 6 miles through mud and sand with those things. And I just thought, what a hero.
What can they do? What sport could they do? Did he need a bicycle adapted, a coach to help them, training program? Did he need travel expenses? That's the type of stuff we created for Operation Rebound. And what we found is some of our athletes, before you knew it, they were already participating in the Paralympics.
Went in the Marine Corps, 2 tours, Special Forces, and was just looking for another fix. So I decided to transfer over to the Navy, SEAL teams for a little bit. I was riding my motorcycle, and about 3 blocks from the house, the car ran a stop sign and didn't see me. cut me off and threw me off the bike into a ditch. It like hit me like a brick wall. Like, wow, I'm paralyzed. What the hell am I gonna do with my life? You know, who am I gonna be? How's my identity gonna change? And I went through a pretty nasty depression because I cocooned myself and alienated myself. And the opposite would have been the case had I found the network and the support structure. So then I became the advocate. Hey, anybody with these type of injuries, you need to have friends who have walked this road before, because you can circumvent a lot of pitfalls and downtime. And Operation Rebound offers that.
Yes! You're changing perceptions not only of what we perceive these guys can do, but what they think they can do, and their feeling about themselves.
So then I enrolled in college, and right around that same time frame, I got cleared to start working out again. I just started, getting back into the game of life.
With adaptive skis, with prosthetic running legs, with hand cycles, all this equipment, it gets you out there. For me, it was getting out to a mud run and finishing it. From that point on, it was, look, what's the next race? What's the next event? What's the next thing I can do?
I had aspirations to go to Beijing and win a gold medal at this point. And I asked him, like, hey, would you be willing to consider supporting me and not just, giving me a grant for a bike? Like, I need to race and get in a series and develop the momentum now, 2 years out. And obviously we pulled it off. That's something that I wouldn't have been able to achieve without Operation Rebound. And that's why to this day, I say they bought the gold, I just went to pick it up.
You don't realize how much you smile when you're playing a sport, how much you're laughing with your teammates and having a good time, and how much you just remember the clean air you're breathing when you're out and playing sports. It's definitely been a life changer.
I'm running, I'm cycling, I'm swimming, I'm surfing, I'm skiing. If there's a sport out there, I'm gonna go try it. And I'm gonna try and do my best at it. And having no legs, I'll figure it out. It may not be pretty, I'm probably gonna fall down a bunch, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do anything I wanna do. I'm not letting this hold me back. And Challenge Athletes Foundation, CAF, and Operation Rebound give me the opportunity to say, A, they give me the coaching to figure out how to do these sports. They give me the race entries to push me. And one of the most important things is they give me the mentoring, connect me to a community of like-minded individuals. When you see somebody else do it, you know it's possible.
Every day I wake up, it's like, if we can help another veteran, police officer, firefighter, it's something that I personally want to be a part of, because I found a lot of personal satisfaction in giving back now to the program and to the individuals where I had my starts from. The stigma has changed from the something to be embarrassed about, hide your prosthetic, to it's cool to have a prosthetic. They climbed twice the distance, if you will, of adversity to get to that accomplishment. So it is a cool thing, and it is hip, and prosthetic legs are hot and sexy.
It doesn't matter. I ski like everybody else, I surf like everybody else, and I'm having just as much fun, probably more fun, because I know how close I was to not being able to do it. And my legs, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that I don't have legs out there. Doesn't matter, because I can get in that wave and I can forget about everything else, that I'm just another guy enjoying life.
They are supermen and women, not just because what they're able to do in the realm of athletics, because what they're able to do outside, inspiring others.
Whether it's on the battlefield, whether it's in the courtroom, whether it's in the halls of Congress, these young people that are getting injured and coming back and are proving themselves are our future leaders. Whether in business and industry, wherever, they are going to be the ones that you see again. They just will never quit.
Operation Rebound!